Hello everyone, welcome to my next speech. Today is May the 7th, it's a Friday, and today's speech, the first speech about like the COVID-19 and racism. So, since last year, March 9th or February, the COVID-19 outbreak in other countries like China, like India, Europe, has raised a huge amount of racism targeting Asian communities. And now it's still increasing. This is something we really need to pay attention about. It is. Asian American community do not feel safe during the entire pandemic they feel they're unequally treated, they're being murdered, they're being raped, they're being like they're they're being and they're being isolated. And many of them they do not care, right? And not only Asian American, lots of African American, Latin American, any undocumented immigrant, they are deeply affected. The pandemic caused many inconveniences over the country. You may not realize it is something we need to remember. The library is not open, the restaurants, everything changed. Somebody lose their job, somebody don't have a constant job, they cannot work, somebody that do not have enough food, uh, they're starving, and somebody lost internet. They cannot attend online classes, they cannot attend anything using internet. And some people, they lost their identity, they lost their respect because of the pandemic. Why the US treat some Asian people as a virus? Why? So back to February the 2020. Lots of people let me know China, other Asian country, they lead the first outbreak of the virus. And then the virus has been spread among all over the world. Then the US media platform just falsely assume that China is the biggest cause of the US global pandemic. Here's the thing, and they just make way like China made a virus. Well, here, there's no scientific evidence that China is the main cause. China is the main cause for the entire virus that virus can be spread all over the world. There's no scientific proof, so you cannot just assume it, right? We're all we all have logic. We all have to have a thing. It's like anything calls for a reason, and the reason must be scientifically proved. And we must to know what is the and when the pandemic arrived, what we should do and what we should not do. It is what we need to think. And do not politicalize the virus. It's like a virus found in China, they have first outbreak, does not mean this virus is named Chinese virus. Because I think your nationality is not a virus. Your identity is not a virus. I have to speak it out. Any virus have the first outbreak in a country does not make any sense if people think the virus it is from the country, because it may be not unbuilt yet, so we will not know what they are coming from, right? And some Asian hate crime has been increased dramatically, right? We have people from California, from New York, from Washington, from Oregon, Texas, even Illinois. They have Chinese American, Asian American. They're being murdered, or hurt, or isolated, or or hurt by the hate crime. What is the thing to make Americans think that is the Asian American makes this country have so pandemic, so illness, right? Why do we think there is a specific group of people they intentionally make the virus here, right? What is the logic? How did you think about it, right? Make any comment before, just ask yourself. There might be some logic. If a country do not take precautions, just let it go. Just like gateway wide open, no restrictions, no precaution, then the virus is unquestionably gonna come here, right? You gotta be prepared. And there's not and there's another point beside that. There's lots of racial disparity among African American and Latin American. Not everybody in this country have access to healthcare, and which means if you get infected, you have to visit the hospital, and then you have to pay a lot more, very expensive. And lots of people cannot afford it because they don't have it, because they lose their job during the pandemic, right? They lose their job, and therefore they do not have the money to pay for it. If we do not have health care, how they're gonna get healed, how they're gonna recover? Are we just gonna modify the data to train them as dead or recovered? There's a question about it. Lots of people, they lose their job, they don't have access to more advanced healthcare. A lot of people, they lose their job, or like they have to work on the front line. They have to work because they have to make the money to keep the entire family alive. They need food to survive. They need the money to survive. And they need respect, love to survive. That is we all need to know about it. Lots of people of color has had painful time with the virus because they don't have health care. They don't have access to almost anything. You have to ask, what makes you so racist? They are the group of people that need help the most. Why just looking at them and then do nothing? What's going on with this? Why just look at him painfully and just let them to endure the unnecessary painful? Why? What makes you do this? White supremacy? It is so questionable. Again, the virus brutally exposed the inequality among people of color and white. The access to healthcare, to education, to anything else in our life. We never realized. Not everybody is wealthy, especially among people of color. I have some friends who are in public school, but do not have access to a laptop because school was shut down. Do not have access to internet, so they cannot do the schoolwork. The in-person instruction have been ended, so they have to make a way to get a computer, get a laptop, get access to the internet. A lot of people, they're homeless. They live on the street. They have the biggest risk of getting infected. They do not have any place to live. They do not have healthcare. Do not have internet, you don't have food, money, how are they gonna survive, right? But you do not care of it, right? But now it's like the time we have to practice equity and equality. You have to treat them, you have to respect them equally. But you have to have equity, right? When people need help, but they're somewhat incapable, your job is here is not to ignore them. It is to help them. If they get stuck, give extra help. That's how they gonna. That's how they're gonna make it hard time. We need everybody to make it hard time, but how we gonna do it is equity and equality. We None of them can be ignored. And do you think the virus is a bad thing? Yes, I do think. But it's also a warning for everyone in this country. And you know, the racial disparity does exist. And you have to know how to fix it, how to prevent it. We all need to know it. To expand the healthcare, we do not turn down any hospitalization based on the race and ethnicity. Because they are the group of people that need help the most. But if you just ignore them and just let them die, that is immoral and seems unreasonable, right? Back again. The virus, it does not have relationship with nationality. The virus is a virus. Its the official name, it is COVID-19. COVID-19. It is not a Chinese virus. It's not a China virus. We all need to know we've done enough to our foreign-born population. Enough. I'm tired of it. The racism, I'm tired of it. Alright? This is a warning. Hope everyone learn from this. And lots of people, they're 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 escaping from the US. Why? Not because they do not feel like the US competition is tough, because they do not feel safe living in this country under systemic racism, under the pandemic. They do not feel safe. They need the basic safe and respect, and they can do something really good. This pandemic is the warning to everyone here that the racism does exist. We need to take care of it. Ignoring them is not the thing we should do. We identify the problem and we fix the problem, and now it is the time. Do not perpetuate it. Okay, here's my first speech. Come back by 5:28 to my next speech. Come back by 5:28. This is same screen.